Good last name.
And I have a grandson named Jay.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I call the Caddo Parish Commission meeting to order. This is going to be February the 6th, 2020 at 3:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Hopkins, Johnson, Jackson, Young, Burrell, Hawthorne,
Present.
H. Watts, Telefero,
Here, ma'am.
Atkins, Chavez,
Here, ma'am.
Lazarus, Epperson.
Here.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. We will have our invocation by Commissioner Hopkins and our Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Burrell. Please silence your cell phone and stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us gather today. Be with us as we go through the business of the parish. Guide us to do the right things, to help the people of this parish and this state. This we ask in your precious name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Will you turn to the flag, please? Yeah, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Deputy Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
I have none.
I have none either. We move on to citizens' comments. Citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return to the president or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. If we have a group of people that are speaking on one topic, you will be limited to 15 minutes. I have a lot of different comment cards here. However, I only see 4 that are duplications of the same. So it looks like each person will be allocated 3 minutes, unless some of these are for the UDC and the MPC. What I'll do right now, just to clarify, because I only show 2 that are for the UDC with the Caddo Alliance. If you guys are together with the Caddo Alliance and you'd like to speak, or you filled out a comment card, please stand at this time just so we can identify. I only show 2, but I just want to verify. Okay, I have 3. So I have Jane, Jake, and whom else? Donna. Donna, did you fill out a comment card? Is that it? Okay, thank you guys. You may be seated.
Mr. President, I believe we had another lady standing over to the left.
I'm sorry, I didn't see her. Did you fill out a comment card as well? Ma'am, did you fill out a comment card and submit it? What was your last name? Rivers? Okay. I see it. That's under property rights. And then we have one more. All right, so Mr. Brown, Jane Tharp, Donna Green, Kathy Rivers, and John Harrell. There's 5 cards, so I want you guys, if you could get together, there's 15 minutes total for your group.
They took 3 minutes.
So that works out for 3 minutes apiece. First off, we'll have Carter L. Bedford, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Carter L. Bedford, candidate for Mayor, Town of Greenwood. It is indeed a pleasure for me to stand before you and introduce myself. My wife and I have lived in the town of Greenwood for more than 20 years, and we love the atmosphere. It's quiet, very low crime, and it's a wonderful place to raise a family. Lucille and I have been married for 42 years. We have 2 children, Deisha and Carter, and 5 grandkids. Education. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Arts Education from Southern University, certification in Mathematics from Southern University. I have a Master's degree in Secondary Administration from Centenary College. Work history. Worked at Shreveport Regional Airport in Dobbs House, Shreveport Country Club, Sheraton Motel when it was out there on Greenwood Road, County Seat Clothing Store. At Southern University, I worked on the yearbook staff. I was a sports editor. Caddo Parish School Board for 42 years, 17 years as a teacher, 25 years as an administrator. Retired June 1st, 2017. Organizations: Greenwood Zoning Board, Greenwood Chamber of Commerce, past president of Alpha Alpha Foundation, president of Alpha Alpha Foundation, past vice president of Alpha Alpha Fraternity, church membership, Peace for Rest, also attend Word of God ministry. If elected mayor, I certainly plan to collaborate with the parish, local and state government with issues concerning our interests. I feel that what's good for Caddo Parish is also good for the town of Greenwood. We both have common interests: safety of our citizens, improving the quality of life, increasing our population, economic development, and job creation. I pledge transparency in the mayor's office, open and inclusive government, work closely with local, state law enforcement officers. I know it is imperative that the town of Greenwood continue to expand its water system to provide clean, safe drinking water for the citizens in Greenwood as well as the surrounding communities that we serve. I realize that West Caddo Parish and the town of Greenwood are the welcoming gate to the persons coming east on I-20. I will work closely with the Caddo Parish and all entities to ensure that travelers get a good impression when they enter Louisiana. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. All right.
Thank you.
John Harrell.
I want to make my statement very short so the rest of my time can go to my fellow clients. A lot has been said, even on some blogs that people are circulating through the media. We're not asking for Wild West regulations. We're just wanting the regulations we lived under before the UDC. And that has been misplayed all the way on this by some of the council members and by some of the ones that are doing the blogs. It's not fair to us because y'all are our representatives.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Rivers?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll try to keep this short. My name is Kathy Rivers, and I'm speaking on behalf of Mr. James Seitz, who got a notice from the MPC about equipment on his property. And I've got pictures and everything, but I couldn't find a copy to get them to y'all. But the notice went to another gentleman, certified mail to Mr. Rogers, but the pictures of the property are Mr. Seitz. Anyway, they are notifying him that he cannot keep that equipment on his property anymore. Mr. Seitz has been right outside of Blanchard for about 38 years. And the equipment he uses is a dump truck and a small tractor, and that's his livelihood. And he was like the third resident that moved in that subdivision when it was developed just outside of Blanchard, that was bought by a bank in Blanchard that ended up filing bankruptcy. And Mr. Seitz, like I said, he's lived there. And today, he lives in the Pine Lake subdivision. And today, Mr. Seitz is 75 years old. He has lived on his property for 38 years. The MPC is asking him to move his equipment or be fined. And since he can't afford a court battle with the MPC, he would end up losing everything that he has and worked for his whole life. He can't afford to relocate, and at his age, he shouldn't have to. we'd like to know who the complainant is. Someone complained to the MPC about him having equipment in his yard. And he never goes to work before 7 in the morning. He never runs at night. He's not blocking any property, and he has a beautiful lot, and this equipment is sitting behind his home. So we're asking that the 2030 master plan and the UDC be abolished and go back to the original.
Erica Bryant, will you see if Ms. Rivers, if that complaint, if that specific complaint is included with the rest that we put a freeze on in regards to the fines, or if it's separate? That way, that person can still fulfill their employment. So, Ms. Rivers, if you'll get with Erica Bryant, she'll take care of that one independently currently, right now.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Donna Green.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Donna Green, 847 Eds Boulevard. That is usually not something people say to me. It's louder. I'm here because the same thing everybody else has said. I've kind of read through some of the stuff that I could find online and various things. I've tried to go to all the meetings, and you know, we bought rural for a reason, and now that's being encroached upon, and it's just not right. We were driving down through town, the city, and the very things that the people in our neighborhood are being wrote up for was there in the city. And you know, it boggles me that the fringes are being, I don't know, picked on. I don't know what you would call it, but I just want you guys to know that the people in our district, which is District 2, we're not happy with that. We want to have our rights back. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Jane Tap.
I can.
Sure. Jake Brown.
My name's Jake Brown. I gave everybody, y'all should have a handout. So this is Act number 34 of the 1954 House legislation. Yesterday I went to the MPC and I actually went through this with them to tell them that they actually do have the power to recommend to you that we get the master plan and the UDC repealed and replaced with something else that is for our area. The master plan wasn't for our area. It was made by outside forces that are spreading this cancer all across the United States right now. These plans are the same. You go look other places, it's the same in Boston. It's the same in California. How can this be? But you know, I mean, you start putting the facts together, you start seeing that this was set up to take our power, to take our property rights. So looking at this act, I know now that the MPC can recommend to you guys on changes to be made. But at the end of the day, you guys are the legislative body. Y'all can actually, right now, by sections 28 and 36, the granting clause, y'all can change all this stuff right now. And also, when you look at it, section 11, the general purpose of the plan, if you look at it towards the bottom, the plan was set up, the master plan, to best promote public health, safety, morale, order, convenience, prosperity, or the general welfare as efficiency and economy in the process of development. I honestly don't think that the master plan that was written really meets that. I mean, its basis is sustainability and environmentalism, and that's to take our power. So I just want y'all to be aware, you can fix this. Mr. Jackson, I wish he was here, said that we couldn't fix it until Danny McCormick did legislation. But there are options to fix this. And everybody here wants this thing repealed, and we want something else in place. There's not one person here that doesn't want it repealed. And we're not saying that we don't want codes, but we want codes that protect our property rights. There's certain things that are happening to Mr. Seitz and to people that try to make a living, and now they're not going to be able to. I mean, this is hard on commercial businesses. They're leaving. I mean, it's been shown time and time again that regulation actually stops businesses. That's why they're all going to Bossier. So, I mean, our schools are hurting. Crime is out of control. They've got $1 billion, Shreveport does, of stuff that needs to be fixed. The roads are horrible. They're not going to be able to fix this stuff if they keep annexing property. And you guys can stop them from annexing property. Y'all have the power. Y'all are letting them take us in and then put this on us. And this shouldn't be the case. Y'all should stop this. They haven't grown since 1970. The city still hasn't grown with all the annexation that's taken place. So, I mean, we need to stop this, and you guys can do it, and this shows you can.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Jane?
Hello again. I was not prepared to speak today. I'm Jane Tappy, I'm sorry. I was not prepared to speak today, but I will always be ready to do what I can for us, all of us. Okay, thank you for having me. Jake just covered most of everything that I would have said. You guys, madams and sirs, you have the ability here. You have the power to fix this. It's all on you guys. You guys represent us as a people. We elected you. We are just waiting and asking for you guys to fix this, okay? You guys, we can't do it. So I'd like for you, please, take a look at all of these people here. Those of you who have never served on this particular commission board and those who have you ever seen a turnout like this in all of your years for any particular issue or problem? You have? Okay. Limited, I'm sure. Major, though, right?
We're not
Okay.
actually supposed to address each other in this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so all these people, we are here for a purpose, and there is a lot of us. And this is not near. This is the tip of the icing. Okay, you said you can't respond. So if I ask you for a show of hands for who has read the UDC, and that you know what we're talking and concerned and worried about. Can you raise your hands?
No, we're not supposed to actually communicate.
All right. You know in your hearts and in your heads, if you know what this UDC says, you know how crazy it is, or you don't have a clue what it says. So I'm asking you guys to be aware of what we're wasting the commission's time for each meeting to bring the same thing to you. This is important, and this is absurd that we keep having to come back here. So I hope and pray that collectively you guys see what our goal is, and because you can answer, because you just said, my question to you would be, do you intend to satisfy the people? So my last thing would be to say, to reiterate what Jake had said and what all of us are saying. You have the power, you guys do, to repeal the UDC. You are supposed to represent us as people. You have the power. When you go home today, you look in the mirror every morning when you get up, you know you have the power. So what will you do about it? That was the last question I had the last time I was here. What will you do about it for us as the people you represent?
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Tappan. That was the conclusion of the Caddo Alliance group, but I wanted to let you guys know, please don't leave. We hear you, and we appreciate you guys coming, and it's not a waste of your time. I'm glad that you guys come down here as well as the rest of us, and I don't want to steal any commissioner's thunder, but there is already things in place to address this, and you'll hear this under communiques on the very first UDC meeting that we're going to have a town hall meeting that's already pre-set up with one commissioner's district as well as Alan Clark. So please stay tuned, and we are hearing you, and we're working on it as quick as we can. Next we have Brian White.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. White.
I wrote something down. I'm mainly going to refer to what's in front of you. It's a handout. Basically, the backstory here is there was a driver that went by my house spraying for weeds. We were able to stop him, and he was kind enough to answer a question as to what he was spraying, and the answer was Esplanade, otherwise known as indaziflam is apparently the actual chemical name. On page 2, you'll notice, though, that there's a lot of reasons not to use this in our area. He claimed he was under contract by the parish. I've had trouble finding out where to address this and to find out if it's actually that chemical. I would assume the driver knows what's in his truck, but I bring it to your attention. The highlights of such I will bring to you. Toxic to fish. I live less than a mile from the lake. Aquatic invertebrates and plants may impact water through spray drift and runoff. This is on page 2 of your documentation on the manufacturer's labeling. This was done when there was very high precipitation in January, so I know this is not being adhered with. Groundwater, it may leach into the groundwater if used in soils that are permeable or where the water table is shallow. Another one of the attachments that you have in front of you is the Usgs Survey, along with the KTPS story done for Bossier, that shows that in some cases the water table is less than 10 feet from the surface. And then the surface water advisory, this pesticide may impact water quality due to runoff of rainwater, in areas that is a high potential for reaching surface water locations such as Cross Lake. Use restrictions do not apply in or irrigation ditches, canals, included the Outer Banks. This is where I saw it being applied to, in direct conflict with that. EPA does say that it has created gland tumors that may be of concern to a lot of your constituents, especially if it's in the groundwater or in Cross Lake's water, may be contaminated there. New York Department of Environmental Conservation, it was a developmental toxicity, caused some low birth weights and some other developmental issues. This is currently being used to the best of our knowledge. And the UDC, there's a comment there that there's supposed to be a vegetation plan that's done. I don't think that was done. The closest thing I can find is a discussion in 2019 for Cross Lake, and this chemical is not being included in that assessment. So I do want to bring that to y'all's attention. I can't find the right place to get it stopped or get it addressed, and I know it's a concern that would probably bring some concerns throughout, and I know there's some other ones as well, but I'm having trouble getting some of that information. So I bring it to your attention, and I ask for some assistance in either stopping it or getting it addressed appropriately.
Mr. White, thank you for coming down here. Before you leave the chamber, will you get with Erica Bryant and give her your contact information? I'd like us to get with the procurement department and find out if this is indeed what we're using. And looks like Chairman Young, you have one of your first committee assignments as natural resources. Thank you for coming down, Mr. White.
Thank you, sir.
Irvin L. Foster.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Irvin Foster. I live at 3620 Alma Road. I'm the sole proprietor of that property and adjoining area and the surrounding property. My question to you was what would the council, as we have before stated, is this settled law? And when I allude to the fact of settled law, I can state something like Brown versus the Board of Education as settled law, and many of us didn't like it, or Roe versus Wade as settled law, and many of us didn't like it, or even the 14th Amendment as settled law, and many of us didn't like it. And my question to you was for clarification. Are we to view the UDC codes as settled law and come in compliance, and how long should it be before we're in compliance with the UDC codes?
Henry Bernstein, I see you in the back. Can you raise your hand? Mr. Foster, can you go meet Mr. Bernstein in the back and you address Mr. Foster's concern? Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Mr. Foster. He's... All right. Sharon Flournoy.
To the commissioners, I'm Sharon Flournoy.
And I'm going to be reading a letter on behalf of Apostle Cornell Hamilton for the appointment for Laura Newbert. It says, Caddo Parish Commission Board, please accept this letter as a full and favorable recommendation for Laura Newbert to fill the vacancy of the Metropolitan Planning Commission. Mrs. Newbert is a leader in the community, a successful business owner, and has worked with me and my church on issues that I reached out to her on for her help. She has never hesitated to help with my requests, has always exhibited the characteristics of concern and proud citizens of Shreveport, and is a perfect example of the person needed to fill this vacancy. She will represent all citizens of Shreveport and the surrounding areas that is in the jurisdiction of the MPC with honesty, integrity, and compassion. I ask that you vote favorable for her appointment in this position. With kindest regards, I am respectfully yours, Apostle Cornell Hamilton. So, of course, Laura is not here today because she had to be in California for business, and Arizona. And of course, I am here, as I was 2 weeks ago, to say I hope you guys consider her. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brooks? Don't go nowhere.
Hello, I'm Jacques Brooks. Also here from Ms. Newbert. She had Justin James from Airline High School, the principal there, that was supposed to come in, but he had a school board meeting. He wasn't able to attend, so I told her I would go ahead and read his letter that he had wrote for her that he didn't get to do last week, 2 weeks ago. It says, to whom it may concern, my name is Justin James. I am the principal of Airline High School. First, let me say thank you. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I am honored to write this on behalf of my family member who live in District 1 and 2 of Caddo Parish. I have known Laura Newbert for over 30 years. I speak on behalf of everyone when I say Laura is like a family member. Laura has many strengths that make her special. One is that she has a business mind. She has built a company that is respected in this community and serves Northwest Louisiana. Laura is driven. She is a woman that sets her mind to something and sees it through. Laura is level-headed. As an educational leader, I reach out to stakeholders in my community to ask for opinions and ideas. I've reached out to Laura many times in need of an outside opinion. Laura is smart. She is not afraid to tell you what she thinks. In my profession, these characteristics are invaluable. They are intangible. You can't touch them. You can't pick them up and take them with you. They are learned. Through trial and error, failures and success in my profession, I need people who aren't afraid to think out of the box. My father, Bill James, was born in 1925. He graduated from Fair Park High School. He served in the Navy during World War II. He went on to be with the Lord on Christmas Eve of 1998. One of the last things my father told me was this: son, you will meet many types of people in your life. One of these will be confidants. He said a confidant is someone who is for you, for what you're for, against what you're against. And if you come across a confidant, hold them close. A man will be lucky to have a few confidants in his lifetime. Laura Newbert is one of my confidants, not just for me, but for my entire family. Laura Newbert is family. It is with great pleasure to write this on behalf of my friend Laura Newbert. I have no doubt that Laura will serve the citizens of Shreveport and the Caddo residents in the planning zone with integrity, dignity, and honor. Thank you, Justin James. And with that, I thank you for
Mr.
allowing me to
Brooks.
speak on her behalf.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
James O'Brock.
Hi there, I'm James O'Brock, and I need to put my glasses on. 248 Lake Point Drive, Shreveport, 71109. I'm here to talk about two polar opposites, waste and common sense. Many of you have been wasting your time and our resources on a vendetta to remove history. The Confederate Monument is a memorial to the Civil War, nothing else. At this point, let me confess I'm a Yankee from Ohio, married to a Southern belle who 40 years ago chased me until I caught her. Brenda, so many of you know her. I am not invested in a 100-year-old Confederate monument, just as I have no ties to most of the tombstones in our cemeteries. What I am invested in is this city and parish. $1 million here, $1 million there, and pretty soon you're talking about some serious money. wasted. The recent political movement to remove any physical sign of our country's history lacks any common sense, but is overflowing with waste. The time and money already spent on this would have been better spent on solving some real problems. How about fixing some potholes, or feeding some children, or puppies or kittens? And now you've allocated but not spent an additional $500,000 of our tax dollars to a cause that will not benefit even one of our citizens. Repeat, it won't benefit even one person. Does this sound like common sense? When you ran for election, did any of you promise, if I'm elected, I'll remove any reference to the Civil War? I'm not asking for a show of hands. And there's another wonderful waste of money. It was, I promise I'll use our tax dollars to buy the old GM plant and give it away. By the way, I have $1,000 invested in my Elio that I'll never see. Now, I'm betting you promised the voters that you would work to improve our streets, schools, and infrastructure, and you would work to make life better in Caddo Parish. I'm here to ask you to find some common sense. Borrow it if you have to. And don't spend our money on something that will not benefit even one citizen. If you can continue to pursue wasting our money to remove history, then you must not like children, puppies, or kittens. In addition, I'm asking every logical thinking person in the sound of my voice to let this commission know, in the words of oh geez, I can't think of her name now, but get up a crowd. Anyway, let them know you don't want your tax money wasted on the removal of the Confederate monument or any other boondoggle that they can come up with. One more thing I'd like to point out, of all our dedicated public servants up here, only 4 have acknowledged my emails. I did get a response from Stephen Jackson, who's not here, but I'm still going to call him out. He told me in all caps that I did not have permission to contact him via email on his parish email. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. Miss Valerie, and it may be Toll.
Hi, I'm Valerie Toll. I live at 10527 Toll Road, Greenwood. I'm here on the oil companies coming in and disrupting our lifestyle. They've put up no barriers to stop their noise, the dust, all the different pollutants. We've been wakened 3 o'clock in the morning with our house rattling like a jet taking off in our front yard. No one to call. Sheriff's Department says we can't do anything about it. They're putting a well in 500 yards from our property line. They're going to start fracking here pretty soon. I'm worried about the fracking noise, the truck noise, the constant truck noise, backup beepers that we hear from the 7 other locations, pumper trucks, compressor stations. Last year, I belonged to the farmer's market, and I noticed that I had no pollinators. So I had to get somebody to bring bees in. Well, they have killed all the feral bees in the area out there, making roads and doing whatever it is they're doing. And this year, well, no, it was last year, they came in. I got bees, put them on our property, and they came in to do well site. And we were never contacted. All this dust was flying towards our bees. I've got pictures of it. And it's silica dust. I mean, it's harmful to us, it's harmful to the bees. And, you know, all they had to do was call us where we could move the bees, you know, do something with it. We have blueberries, you know, different animals, and everything's just staying really upset about all the noise, all the dust, all the pollutants. And then we're worried about water, and methane gas, you know, just everything that's being from all these well sites. They're putting a road from Danvers all the way to our property line, going down our property line to State Line Road. So we're going to have noise 24/7 and the dust. And I just, you know, I feel like something needs to be done.
Mrs. Toll, thank you for coming in and advising us of this. I'm not exactly sure if you're inside the 5-mile buffer or on the outside. However, I do see Attorney Frazier. Thank you for wrapping up that last one. We got you one more. When you go back and Attorney Bernstein? Yeah. What did I say?
Frazier.
Oh, sorry. You guys can both address it if you'd like, but he'll be able to help you out, and I would like you to show him that information and see what's been done about it.
Okay.
Or what we can do about it for you.
Okay, I sure do appreciate it, because I don't know how we're going to live there. I mean, you just don't realize the noise. So it's...
Thank you, Ms. Toll, for coming and telling us.
Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson.
Mr. President, as a point of information, Ms. Toll had contacted me. I think I had some correspondence from the Public Works Department. So if Mr. Glass is here, I think he was responding to it.
I can't see him in the audience.
Okay.
Mr. Glass, you here?
Well, anyway, we have something working on it. Also,
Okay.
if I may add that we put this situation with the Resources Committee also.
Absolutely. That will be definitely added. Attorney Frazier?
As a point of information, I do have via email where Mr. Glass assigned that to one of his staff members.
Perfect.
So it is being worked on.
She's already stepped out, I believe, Mr. President.
Okay. You may want to catch him and let him know that it is being worked on. Thank you guys for doing that. Commissioner Epperson, thank you for that. Commissioner Burrell.
Yes, Mr. President. Just a point of information, too. Since I'm new on the commission and was on the city council, we had a noise ordinance that dealt with a lot of the noise dealing with fracking before. The question is, do we have that for the parish? If that's so, we should be able to address it under that.
I believe Commissioner Epperson, would you like to address that?
We have one, and they are addressing it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for clearing the check. All right, that concludes citizen comments. Moving right along.
We have no visitors. We move to adopt the regular session minutes from
So
June.
moved.
Second. Who was the first on that? Okay, so we got Stormy made the motion to adopt, and Vice President Johnson made the second. Commissioner Epperson, you on the board on that vote?
No, sir. After we finish this, I just wanted a brief point of information.
Okay. Please vote.
Mr. Epperson?
If you ready for me? Okay.
No, I think she wants to vote.
Sometimes it takes an extra push.
All right, and that passes 11 with one out of the chamber. Commissioner Epperson to be recognized.
Mr. President, I just want to let the audience know, for some that may not have come before, that the issues that were spoken on today are not going to have any action items. If they would like, they can leave at this time, unless they want to stay through the full meeting.
What Commissioner Epperson was saying is a lot of people address the commission with different items. Those won't actually be addressed today. Obviously, they'll be noted, and we have the information on the citizens that made the comments, and most likely that respective commissioner will reach out to you so that it can be addressed next time, but you're welcome to stay through the meeting. Thank you. I'll give a quick minute so the chamber can clear.
Those who desire.
Thank you. You guys don't have to leave if you don't want to.
We're not changing the outcome.
All right, guys, we're going to get started. Moving on to a special resolution of recognition.
Special resolution of recognition to Doug Dominic, Matthew Lynn, Jim Smith, Kenneth Epperson, and Gerald Bowman for years of service as Caddo Parish Commissioners.
So moved by the chair.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson.
Those commissioners aren't here aside from Commissioner Epperson, and I asked him if he wanted me to read it out loud, and he said just put it in the minutes.
Okay. Commissioner Epperson, did you want to speak on that?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Please vote. That passes 11 with 1 out of the chamber.
Special resolution of remembrance to DJ Starr.
Commissioner Burrell, would you like to pass that resolution?
Yes.
The chair
So
will
moved,
second.
Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Commissioner Burrell, seconded by the chair. Would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, I have the sister of DJ Starr here that I would like to present this resolution.
Everybody please
to.
stand.
Mr. President and members, I'd like to call Latasha Washington up. Oh, here we are. Oh, okay. All right. Yes, we want to present this resolution to the family of Donald Ray Johnson II. This young man, as I understand, has been a jewel for our community, not only Shreveport, but also Monroe. They had a memorial over in Monroe. So at this time, I would like Ms. Nation, if she would, well, first of all, let me introduce the family. This is Ms. Coleman, Deborah Coleman, who is the mother. And this was my former executive assistant, legislative assistant, Ms. Latasha Washington. I believe this is a brother I've never met him. Kenneth Johnson, and I know Nadia. Okay. At this time, I'd like for you to read that, Ms. Nation, please.
Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission pauses with sadness and regret to reflect the untimely passing of Mr. Donald Ray Johnson II, also known as DJ Starr, who went to meet his Heavenly Father. And whereas Mr. Donald Ray Johnson II was born to Deborah Coleman and Donald Johnson on June 13, 1984 in Zweibrücken, Germany. Okay. Whereas as a self-proclaimed old soul, Donald developed an early love of music and became affectionately known as DJ Starr. And whereas DJ Starr was educated in Caddo Parish Public Schools, graduated from Fair Park High School in 2002, and attended Grambling State University, joining the drumline of the world-famed Grambling State University Marching Band. And whereas DJ Starr began his career through the Go DJ Louisiana family, became CEO at Headline Starlight Entertainment, and was a highly requested DJ for many musical artists, including Hurricane Chris, A-Bay, and DeMar Jackson. And whereas DJ Starr has performed multiple times in music entertainment, including MTV's My Super Sweet 16, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live, BET's 106th and Park, NBC's Last Call with Carson Daly, BET's Hip Hop Awards, Showtime at the Apollo, and in the 2012 movie New Hope. And whereas DJ Star progressed from being a nighttime DJ to being the primetime host of 100.1 The Beat from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, sharing his laughter and personality and reaching people across the United States and the world, yet always representing for Louisiana and Shreveport. And whereas more than being a DJ, Star especially loved his family and his children. As a father to Kyron, is that correct? Mason and Skylar, reminding them and us each day on the radio to keep God first and everything would be all right, to walk by faith and not by sight, make your move your best move. Now therefore be it resolved that the Caddo Parish Commission does express its deepest sense of sorrow and loss upon the passing of DJ Star, conveying herein its most sincere expressions of sympathy and condolences to his family and friends who can be consoled in the knowledge of his lasting legacy. Signed, Mario Chavez, Lyndon Johnson, Roy Burrell, and Stephen Jackson.
Thank you.
Y'all may be seated. Congratulations, Roy.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask you if they had any words.
No, I think I'm all out of words, but I really would like to thank you guys and everyone who loved my son. He was a little special to a lot of people, some things I didn't even know he had done for the city of Monroe and everywhere he went in the lives he touched. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Epperson?
Ms. Washington, Latasha? Oh, I just wanted everyone to know that you are a very faithful member of the Veterans Celebration Committee, which we will be entering our 9th year of our Veterans Parade and Honor Ceremony. And if your brother was anything like you, he will be missed. We appreciate your service.
Thank you.
I believe that passes by acclamation.
Now we move to communiques and committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Just want to let you know, when we moved into this building some 20 years ago, we had an ad hoc committee to address issues related to the building. We would like to contact the council. The members of that committee from the commission were the vice president, the president, as well as the immediate past president. We would like to meet with contact the council to schedule a meeting, if we could, to talk about just different issues with the building, from the landscaping to the equipment for this room to just some other things. We think that after 20 years, we may need to revisit our agreement that we have with the city for our joint ownership of this building. So we just want to make you aware that we would be trying to reinstitute that ad hoc committee.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Commissioner Epperson?
Mr. President, is this the appropriate time to address something that may have been relevant with the work session and what was transpired today?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'd like to announce that on Tuesday, February 25th, 6:00 p.m., Bill Cocker Community Center, 4109 Pines Road, will hold a public meeting in reference to the master plan and the Unified Development Code. Ask that all citizens that would have some interest in that, please come out and share your concerns with members of the Metropolitan Planning Commission staff, which would be available. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Did you guys catch the date? Caddo Alliance for Freedom?
Tuesday, February 25th, 6:00 p.m. Bill Cockrell Community Center, 4109 Pines Road. And the media has been advised.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for setting that up. Commissioner Vice President Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to schedule a NGO meeting on February the 17th at 3 o'clock. And
The
And
17th is a holiday.
it's a holiday?
Yes, sir. It's President's Day.
Oh, so we don't meet on the 17th?
No, sir. We meet on the 18th.
All right, so make it to the 18th.
At what time?
3 o'clock. Shouldn't take long for that one. And then on February the 20th, that's that Thursday, a long range committee meeting. And let's schedule that one for 2 o'clock. Yes, and that long-range committee will be dealing with UDC stuff and also the cell towers. That's another agenda item. So the public is open to come and probably have to have it in here as well.
Can you repeat it? I can't hear you.
February the 20th at 2 o'clock, we'll have a meeting on long-range committee, which covers the UDC. And more than likely, if it's a large crowd, we will have the meeting in here. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Commissioner Cage Watts.
Thank you, sir. Is Tim Weaver or I see Robert Glass. I just wanted to know if those issues were resolved or addressed. Oak Knoll and the property in Cross Lake, the illegal dumping ground, they have been or are being addressed? Okay, thank you. That'll be all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to find out if any members of the MPC board are going to come to meetings like the one that Commissioner Epperson is hosting, because I think it would be appropriate for them to hear some more of that feedback in a town hall type setting.
The answer is absolutely. I know I saw Alan Clark back there somewhere, but he wants to speak.
I meant not just the staff, but the board who advise on what rules should be changed to.
We will definitely welcome them. Mr. Allen, do you have a comment on that?
Yes, sir. We had hoped that we could have a meeting at each one of the rural commission districts with those representatives and citizens of each district. We've done the calculation and realized that in the districts outside the municipal limits of the city of Shreveport, there are, I think it was 57,000 residents, 51,000. The population is 51,000 persons. So we were trying to reach as many of those 51,000 individuals as possible to get input into consideration of changes for the master plan and the Unified Development Code. We had not asked the MPC board members to attend these meetings because the way the process works is that we will gather the information and bring it back to the MPC board and make recommendations to the MPC board to make to you. But if you feel that they should be a part of that, they, I'm sure, would be welcoming to come to those meetings. But we have prepared the mechanisms to gather as much information and data as possible to formulate some plans to present back to them.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Does that address the question, Commissioner?
Well, I suppose in response, I would just say I think that it would be good to encourage some board members who are interested to show up.
And that's not a problem. Is that all?
Not yet. Please stand by. Are you?
That's all for me.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I know next speaker, Commissioner Atkins, has a question for you as well,
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. You just made reference to the meetings that are being arranged for residents outside of the city to have an opportunity to express their views. Where are we in that process? I know that I suggested that District 8 and 9 perhaps meet together later in the month, so that like the North Caddo group might meet first, and I'm just trying to get a feel for where we are with that plan. And I'm available as soon as you all want to reach back out and get something on the calendar.
I can actually address that if you want, Mr. Clark. Commissioner Young and I spoke, and we were going to get you involved. We're going to have a central one for our area to include yours,
Okay.
as well as some of Young's,
All right.
some of mine, and some of Ed Lazarus's, in an area we were thinking maybe Baird Road to Southern Hills. What we're going to do is after we have Commissioner Epperson's, we will follow suit and try to do it 2 weeks after.
Okay.
So that's the idea right now.
Okay.
And as you were saying, Mr. President, that we were allowing the commissioners of the respective districts to set up the meetings, and we will be available, however the meetings are set up, to be there with our staff. And I will mention to the board that you're interested in them being there also.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That's all for you, from me to you, Mr. Clark. Thank you. I wanted to address the Caddo Alliance for Freedom group. Obviously, we've heard you. I just want, we can't reply to you all when you're speaking to us, but I want you all to know we've heard you. We understand your concerns. We're trying to work with the MPC and the residents in the rural community, shall we say, or those residents outside of the city, to find a workable solution that will be a balance for everybody. So just bear with this. This isn't a solution that we can just solve overnight, but we're working towards it, and we hear you, and we'll continue to push forward on that. But we appreciate your input and hold us to task. Lastly, I sent an email to the Economic Development Committee today proposing several dates for a possible meeting. So I just wanted to encourage my colleagues to take a look at their email and respond to me as soon as possible on that. Thank you very much. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, for the committee assignments, I sent out everybody their committee assignments as well as the chair of each committee. I just want to go through the list really quick in case you didn't see that. The Animal Services Chair is going to be Talaferro. I think he's going to do very good on that with his prior law enforcement. Appropriations or NGOs will be Commissioner LBJ. I think he's done a great job on that so far, so no need to change. Code Enforcement and Property Standards, Commissioner Epperson, very well read, and that's out there in your district where I think a lot of this is going to be addressed, so I know we'll be leaning on you, and I thank you for wanting to serve on that. Economic Development Chair will be Commissioner Atkins, very good with business. I look forward to you leading that commission. Juvenile Justice will be Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts. I know she has a love for the children, and she pours her heart into that, so thank you for continuing to serve on that. Natural Resources, Commissioner Young will chair that. Very excited to see a farmer on the committee running the chair. Personal Policies and Procedures, Commissioner Hopkins. I couldn't think of a better commissioner to run personal policies and procedures after being the commission clerk, a mayor, and everything else that you've done. Veterans Affairs and Services, there couldn't be a better chairman than Commissioner Epperson. There's nobody else that cares more about veterans than Commissioner Epperson. Long Range Planning and Special Needs, Commissioner Johnson. Again, well read and well planned. I think it's going to be great to have you on this. I know we have a lot of work to do with the crowd out there and the 12 of us. And then lastly, the Finance Committee, Commissioner John Atkins, again, well qualified for the job. I look forward to seeing you guys on that. And lastly, our 2030 Master Plan. We're going to have LBJ and Commissioner Jackson. I think it's going to be a good mix between having a centralized commissioner with the heart of the city as well as the commissioner from outside in the rural district teaming up together to fulfill the plan of the 2030 Master Plan and represent the citizens well. So thank you, chairs, for leading all that. Your committee assignment members are in your inboxes. Vice President Johnson.
Thank you. I would like one of the citizens from District 2 to try to get with me after the meeting so that we can set up a UDC meeting in North Shreveport, North Caddo Parish. And then is Kevin or someone from Buildings and Maintenance? They're here?
They're listening. What do you?
Okay. I wanted to get an update on the welcome signs, the one that is supposed to be on I-49 North,
Yes,
and then
sir.
the one on I-49 South.
Yes, sir. We previously received a quote on those signs that was substantially higher than what was budgeted. So we've asked the architects to go back and give us another quote. And I think we may have that.
Okay.
And we can look at that. But that's where we are. We have the architect working on it.
Okay. I saw the first signs, and it was kind of overkill.
Yes,
But-
so we have another option that they're working on.
Okay.
And we can provide that, I'll make sure with Kevin that it's finalized.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Epson?
Yes, sir. I forgot I had passed 2 pieces of information to each commissioner's desk. One is the West Caddo Shreveport Community and Economic Development Summit. This is just to give you an idea of what I've been doing throughout my district in reference with the homeowners associations and concerned citizens and businesses. This last meeting I had was Thursday, July 30th, 2015, and it included the mayor, Scott Martinez, president of North Louisiana Economic Partnership, Northwest Louisiana Procurement Center, Stacy Brown with Tourism and Sports, Mickey Lewis with Splash Kingdom, Merlin Seaman and Economic and Culture Benefits of Zoological Parks. He came in from Coral Gables, Florida, and also people from the hospitality industry, so we could get together and collaborate and see what we would like to see developed economically in West Shreveport and West Caddo Parish. So, anyone that I recommend to the board or committee will have followed me throughout the duration of my tenure as commissioner, and they will be well qualified and versed in situations which I recommend them to. Also, another piece of information I got is a letter to the editor by Tony T. Williams. This young man is a Huntington High School graduate. He was also a student commissioner for a day. I don't know if you all still do that or not, but each year we have student commissioner for a day. He tracked me throughout the commission business day, and he entered the military, and he is a Master Sergeant E8. And please look at his qualification, the education that he's attained while he's in the military. And I pray to God that he makes it back safely, and that I'm still here to welcome him back. And I'm pretty sure he'll have to be able to get some gainful employment. This is what it's all about to me. If you can nurture 1, 2, 3 individuals, this is what it's about. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes, just for the audience, and quite a few are my constituents, there will be at least 1 and probably 2 of those UDC meetings. I think instead of trying to have 1 large meeting, we will try to break that up into 2 meetings to give everybody an opportunity to have your piece and let them know exactly what you like, what you don't like. I think if we do it in 1 big spot, it's going to be over too soon without enough people speaking. So that'll probably come in March, because I don't see that happening between now and then. We've got to get the spots, but those will be coming. And finally, to the new commissioners, don't forget Police Jury Convention next week.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. All right, I see no other commissioners on the queue.
President's report.
All right, President reports. Commissioners, this year we kick off the Caddo Commission with 6 returning re-elected commissioners, as well as 6 newly elected commissioners. I can confidently say the 6 that made it back have obviously represented their constituents wonderfully, and not to fear on the new 6, because they are far from rookies when it comes to leadership and politics. Between Commissioner Epperson and Burrell, we'll have almost a half a century of public service and a wealth of knowledge in the public sector to lean on. I'm also very excited to welcome a retired Air Force veteran and law enforcement officer, plus the addition of 2 small business owners, a farmer, and even our very own retired commission clerk, Todd Hopkins, who possesses 13 years of public service, will round out our team to make this a banner year. I know just the 12 of us cannot do this task alone. Under the amazing leadership of Dr. Woodrow Wilson, our parish has achieved and remains a AAA bond rating, not the only Louisiana municipality to achieve this distinction. And I know Dr. Wilson is not a one-man show and would not be doing the 354 Caddo Parish employees justice if I did not publicly thank them for their role to keep our parish moving, which includes 11 municipalities, 166 bridges, over 800 miles of road, 18 compactor sites, 30 parish buildings. It's a 1 million square footage. It's a huge daily task. Thank you to all the employees and the love and dedication you provide for all of us. Lastly, and most importantly, To the citizens of Caddo Parish, thank you for allowing us to serve you. Our home is an amazing place because of the deep culture, amazing food, and wonderful people that live here. And this year, the year 2020, let our actions reflect the gratitude for the great blessings we have been given. Thank you, guys.
We have no public hearings. We have no final passages. We move to ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance number 5943 of 2020, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund in the amount of $20,000 to provide an appropriation to legal services of North Louisiana and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Now we move to work session minutes from February 3rd, 2020.
So moved. Got a motion by Commissioner Cawthorn and second by Commissioner Hopkins. Please vote. That passes 11 with one out of the chamber.
Now we move to resolutions. Resolution number 9 of 2020, a resolution in support of fostering and promoting healthy early childhood development throughout Northwest Louisiana.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Watts, would you like to speak on your motion?
Sure, Mr. President. Commissioners, to the new commissioners especially, the attachment of the PDF is here about this resolution. This is a resolution that we actually passed last year with an addendum of the added items to include what our future plans are to create and disseminate plans to foster and educate children at an earlier age. So I ask for your support in this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Epperson, I see you on the board.
Okay. Also, like for those of you new that may be here, Caddo Community Action Agency, which is the granting authority for the Head Start program. It has a premier Head Start, early Head Start program also, state and nationally recognized. And they meet with this group also. They're all on the same page.
Mr. President, I see the Step Forward teams here with the Community Foundation. Might we suspend the rules for a moment to let them speak?
Make that motion.
Second? Is that a motion?
Suspend the motion.
All right. We're going to vote on suspending the rules to make she made a motion to suspend the rules so that you guys can have a couple minutes. Please vote.
Commissioner Watts?
Can't vote. Okay.
All right, that passes 11. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura Alderman with Step Forward. With me here today is Ms. Christy Gustafson, CEO of the Community Foundation. And first of all, we want to thank you for participating in the Early Childhood Policy Summit held in the fall of 2019. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts and Commissioner John Atkins participated as your delegates, as well as Ms. Erica Bryant, Dr. Woody Wilson, Judge David Matlock, Clay Walker with Caddo Juvenile Services. So you were well represented as a parish at this event. We want you to understand today why early childhood outcomes matter to you and should matter to everyone in this community. 60% of our children are starting school not ready in this community. This crosses all socioeconomic classes. There is no group that is left out when we talk about that large of a percentage. And this is an erosion that does not have to happen. This is a preventable tragedy. What we know about early childhood outcomes is that starting strong and preventing a problem before it becomes an issue or an academic achievement gap is essential to economic development in this community. And when I say to you that the vocabulary of a 4-year-old will predict the size of her bank account, then you understand the significance of starting school ready. So we know that this is a problem that is preventable. We want to make you aware of it. We want to give you an opportunity as a group to join your fellow commissioners who participated in this summit and to sign on to this resolution. You've all received a copy of it, and we have a gigantic version of it with us here today. I'm going to let Christy make a few comments, but we'd like to invite you to sign it. So I'm going to turn it around so that you all can see. The Shreveport City Council unanimously supported this resolution, as well as more than 60 participants representing the business community and various elected officials that attended the summit.
Sure. I'm just Christy Gustafson, Community Foundation. It's a funding priority for us to make sure that we support equitable inclusion for all kids to get safe and quality early child care. So those kids that want access to it, we want to make sure that they have it. So it's a top funding priority for the Community Foundation and our board. So thank you so much.
So at this time, I don't know if now is the right point in your meeting time today, but you'll have to guide us in this effort, President Chavez. But we'd love to have you all.
Not right now, but directly after the meeting, we would love to.
All
At
right.
least I can speak for myself. I will, but
Then we will leave markers out and the sign for you all.
Can we put the sign just because we're blocking the view of the citizens over here? Attorney Frazier?
Do you all want that on your next agenda? Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Commissioner Watts, would you like to continue the sponsorship of that one and move to the next agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's, I guess Jackson asked to be added to this?
The resolution?
Yes.
Yes, he's a
Okay.
co-sponsor.
Okay, because I know I just requested for Atkins and myself. Okay.
Attorney Frazier, is that all?
Yes, that's
Okay.
all I had. Okay.
All right, Chair makes a motion to go back into regular session.
Second.
All right, please vote. That passes 11-1 out of the chamber. All right, moving along. We have the motion on the floor for Resolution 9 of 2020. And we have the second. Please vote.
Hold on 1 second, my computer's.
One thing we gotta work on.
That passes 11 with 1 out of the chamber.
Now we move to resolution number 10 of 2020, a resolution to authorize the Caddo Parish Administrator to request and authorize the Louisiana State.
Second.
Moved to adopt by Commissioner LBJ, seconded by Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to speak on your motion? Please vote.
Commissioner Watts.
Can vote, okay.
That passes with 11 with 1 out of the chamber.
Resolution number 10 of 2020, a resolution of remembrance and respect to the memory of Mr. Willie D. Burton Jr.
So move. Second.
So moved by Commissioner Cawthorn, seconded by Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Cawthorn, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, very briefly, President. Willie Burton passed on last week, and he was funeralized this past Saturday. He was a historian at Susler University for a number of years, and he's written a couple of books that kind of chronicles the history of the African American community here in the city. And that book is a good roadmap. It's a good tool to make you kind of understand the continuity of this city, some of the contributions that African Americans have made, and I think his memory needs to be preserved. So we're definitely like to put this resolution forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Watts?
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Cawthorn, I just would like to add myself for a co-sponsor on this. He was definitely a trailblazer. I know this is not yours, but I'm sure that you're on here. So, and I'm sure Commissioner Jackson wouldn't mind if I became a co-sponsor on this, because I think it's noteworthy that he should be honored. Many of us who serve today serve because of him. So thank you for this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to be added if possible. I've known Burton for a long time and worked with him in many capacities.
I see no other commissioners. Attorney Fraser, can we add them without having to vote? Just Commissioner Jackson's not here to say yay or nay. Just want to make sure. They want like to be.
If you all have no objection, you can do it by acclamation.
Okay. All right. I see that passes by acclamation. Let's vote on the original resolution number 11 of 2020. That passes 11 with one out of the chamber.
We have no old business. We move to new business. Confirm appointment to the Industrial Development Board to fill the unexpired term left by the resignation of Mr. Larry Ferdinand. Term to expire August 22nd, 2025.
Yeah. Commissioner Talaferro.
Yes, Mr. President. I've spoken with my nominee, Ernestine Smith, and I'm requesting that she be removed from consideration of appointment to the IDB to give her another opportunity to serve the citizens of Caddo in a different capacity.
Chair will second that. So the motion is to remove Ernestine Smith. See no objections, please vote. All right, that passes 11-1 out of the chamber. We are left with two left. What we'll do is we'll do it in alphabetical order. So if you would like Mr. McCollum, please vote yes. If you would not, don't do anything. And the second, when we vote for Ms. Waller, you will vote yes. So, Deputy Clerk. All right, if you'd like Mr. McCollum, please vote yes. All right. If you would like Ms. Waller, please vote yes.
Hold on one second. Okay.
Seven, that passes. Congratulations, Ms. Waller. Commissioner Epperson, if you'll let her know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now we move to confirm reappointments to the Caddo Fire District number one board. Confirm Mr. Carlos Gibson and Mr. Ed Angel.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Hopkins and second by Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Hopkins, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, sir.
I see no one in the queue. Please vote. That passes 11 with one out of the chamber.
Confirm Mr. Kyle Dill and Mr. David Winkler to the Caddo Parish Fire District number 5 board. Terms to expire January 1.
Move to approve. The chair seconds that. We have a motion by Commissioner Atkins, seconded by the chair. Commissioner Atkins, would you like to speak on that motion?
I spoke to it during the work session. These are two fine gentlemen that have been working hard on behalf of Caddo Parish Fire District number 5. Mr. Winkler served as the president for the last several years, at least the 4 years that I've been on the commission. And Mr. Kyle Dill has been a loyal and steady board member as well. So I think both of these gentlemen have earned the right to be reappointed to the board.
Agreed. Thank you, Commissioner. I see no commissioners in the queue. Please vote. It passes 11 with one out of the chamber.
Now we move to confirm setting deadline for submission of names for the Charter Review Committee to be considered during March 5th, 2020 regular session.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and second by Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Hopkins, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, this is just to have the names in and ready for the March 5th meeting. Is that correct?
That's right. Commissioner Vice President Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attorney Frazier, is there a reason that we need to have this March 5th deadline?
No, I think that was what was suggested on Tuesday, So that's why it appears on that was the motion to move forward.
Is there a rush to get this done? I mean, does it have to be done within so many days of the beginning of the term?
It does not, usually they do kick off around April.
Okay. Would they kick off where's the meeting? After we make the selections, then they have the meetings in April, or we normally make the selections in April?
No, the selections were made prior to April prior to April, and the first meeting was held around the 1st of April.
Okay, so we could actually do this like the end of March, the second meeting in March.
Yes. So
Okay.
Charles.
Commissioner Epperson?
I'd like to make a substitute motion that we delay these appointments and recommendations until the second meeting in March.
The chair will second that.
Okay, if I can speak on it?
Absolutely.
Okay, of course, you know, we have a lot of things on the table now, UDC meetings, we got the state convention that's coming, we have NACO that's coming, and plus the wealth of information that was disseminated to us relative to the procedures we used last time. And I think it would be prudent if we took a little more time to do that.
Thank you,
That's all.
Commissioner. I'll say my comment. That was the same motion I was going to make, but I agree 100% with Commissioner Epperson. I see no other commissioners on the board, so we'll be voting on the substitute amendment that Commissioner Epperson made. Please vote. That passes 11 with 1 out of the chamber. Moving along.
Now we move to communiques and committee reports.
Commissioner Epperson.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you see before you, I have a Kennut mound. Kennut mound. Right. Of course, you know I'll be, I'm running for the office of Executive Board Member at Large at our state association. If you see my sticker on the back. However, if you accept this and eat it, that does not mean that I'm expecting a contribution from you to run my campaign. Don't feel obligated.
$50.
But donations will be accepted. Thank you.
Commissioner, is that all?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vice President Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wanted to kind of address some things that were said. Glad to see Mr. Barefoot running for governor of mayor. I mean, the mayor of Greenwood. Mayor of Greenwood, yeah. Glad to see you get into the political arena. Love to see everyone that gets into it, especially for the right reasons. Wanted to make some rebuttals to something I heard earlier about common sense. So, you know, as we said on this commission back when General Motors was basically leaving Shreveport, and they had their bankruptcy company come in, and they basically said that we will tear down this building. The building is valued at over $100 million. The Parish of Caddo paid $7 million for the building. The building is being leased right now at $65,000 a month, plus all the utilities are being upkept. The building is kept in pristine order. So why not invest the $7 million to do that, hoping that there will be jobs there? There are some jobs out there right now. If you ride by there are some people working out there. It's not what we expected, but at the same time, we did not give Elio not one penny. So that's another myth that's out there. So taking a $7 million investment on a $100 million building to keep it there in hope that there will be jobs in the future here, I think that is an investment that we should have done for Caddo Parish, especially when we had the money. The second thing, you said that no citizens in Caddo Parish don't want that monument moved. Well, I want to tell you that there are many citizens in Caddo Parish that want that monument moved. The monument would never have been put up if blacks at the time had the same rights, because there was 3 blacks that were hung and lynched the same day that that monument went up. Put your hand down, you can't talk right now. So at this point in time, it's time for that monument to go down. There's more there hatred there than you can ever believe in this city and in this parish, and also in the state. So it will hopefully be coming down, and we be moving it somewhere else where you can go and look at it all you want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Parliamentarian Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Proby Waller on her appointment to the Industrial Development Board. She has a fine resume. I'm sure she'll do a fine job. I also wanted to thank Mr. McCollum for his willingness to serve and put himself up for the board. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities. He also has a fine resume and fine experience, and I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for him to serve down the road. So I'd like to ask Mr. McCollum to consider future appointments as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I want to also recognize Mr. Carter Bedford. He gave a rousing dissertation of his resume, but I think he sold himself a little short at the end as it relates to what he's done in Caddo Parish as a principal. He took over a challenging situation at Woodlawn and did a real good job. And then when there was a vacancy over at BTW, he stepped in, which looked to have been an interim period, but he stayed a little longer. I guess he coasted on until retirement. So I just want to publicly acknowledge him and the work that he's done for Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Epperson.
I'll yield to Mr. Burrell since I'm on the second go-around.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to recognize my good fraternity brother, Carter Bedford. He sort of slipped in there on me. He didn't let me know that he was that he was running for mayor. He talked about it. I wasn't sure whether he was going to step out there, but come on out there. The water's fine. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Epperson for the secretary.
I too would like to acknowledge Mr. Bedford. I think he's the principal of, I believe, maybe my daughter and one of my brothers. And we appreciate him getting in the political arena. And to my colleague, Mr. LBJ, I think you make a hell of a lot of good common sense on your comments.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see no other commissioners in the queue. Mr. Bedford, I'll see you on church this Sunday. I go to 9:45, so look forward to seeing you at church. Moving on, we have citizen comments, late arrivals. I have 3. Beth Foster. Beth, are you still in the room? This was turned in initially. She may have left. I have Chris Crackman. Chris, are you here? Hey, Chris.
Chris Crackman, 4530 Pine Knoll Drive. I just wanted to give some late comments on the UDC and the MPC and same stuff that we've been cycling for weeks now. I know y'all are tired of seeing country come to town, so we appreciate y'all taking notice and calling meetings and everything. And I also want to add, Mr. Epperson, next time you want to ask everybody to leave, you might want to announce your meeting first and then ask them to leave. And also just wanted to say I appreciate Mr. Young pointing out that the MPC board needs to come to these meetings, because yesterday was a prime example that Mr. Clark can make suggestions to them as their director, and they do not listen. Just like yesterday, as far as the Martin Luther King area and doing the, I think there's an initiative to put together a housing project over there, which was, it was spot zoning. He made it clear to them that it was spot zoning. He didn't approve of it, and they still voted it in. They do not take his recommendations. Quite frankly, it's embarrassing, which is another prime example of why we don't want to have anything to do with the Metropolitan Planning Commission, to some extent or not at all. I think this would be a good time for this commission and that commission and possibly city council to use this to set precedents for the rest of the state, maybe even the country. Because I know Bernstein told us a couple of weeks back that there's cities and towns all over the country that have these same unified development codes. Well, that doesn't mean that we have to follow the standards that they have set. This gives us an opportunity to set precedents for them to pull away from it, because it's a joke, it's a wash, or as the old folks say, we're being had. We're being had. We want something else in its place. I know we talked about Chapter 54 and everything, and reading it, it's not that grand either. It just wasn't enforced, and we didn't know it. We went probably 5 decades with codes that nobody enforced, which is our fault and the people before y'all's fault. We just want to get back to something more simple than this master plan and this UDC. They're not for us. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to advise you, we have citizen comments and late arrivals because our meetings run long and because some people can't come to our meetings because of work, so that if they did not get the chance to speak before the meeting, when the allocated time is, that they'll be able to come and voice their opinions at the end of our meeting after they get off work. I'm saying that to say that I have just received a few more cards that have the same topic as the initial conversations at the beginning of the meeting that are the Caddo Alliance for Freedom. We've already been allocated the 15 minutes, so that would be included in the original 15 minutes. So there's 2, possibly 3 more people that would like to speak. So if it's going to reiterate things that we've already talked about, it would still fall into the initial 15 minutes, but I would entertain if you would like to have a minute or 2 just to make it brief to talk on it. I'll allow that. Yes. Let me do one thing really quick too. And then I do see a couple more comments that I feel are going to be directed to a certain commissioner about a topic that they disagree with. I want to let you know that we practice civility in this room, and that the comments should be addressed to myself and not an individual commissioner on this board. So please be mindful of that. Commissioner Vice President Johnson.
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate that the late arrivals are people who come late and not people who are already here that want to speak a second time. So if they were going to speak a second time, or if they was already here, then we should vote on it.
I would definitely agree with that. We have some that were late arrivals. I saw them walk in late that do want to speak. Some have been here the first time. Right, so we would have to vote on this one. First off, we'll call the ones that are late arrivals.
That's okay, I tried to retract. I'm fine.
Okay.
That one wasn't late.
No?
No, that was here the whole time.
Well, I will speak to that.
All right, I'll make Commissioner Parliamentarian Atkins.
I'm not sure of the rules on this matter, but it seems to me if someone was here and chose not to speak till after the meeting, or till this speaking session, I don't know why that would be a problem. I understand there may be an issue with someone who speaks in the beginning and then speaks again at the end. But, if someone wants to speak for the first time, but they don't want to speak till the end, I think that should be allowed.
Can I ask you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so on our agenda, basically we got communicators on twice. First communicators is dealing with what's on the agenda. Second communicators is dealing about anything else. As far as citizens' comments, it's the same way. If they was here in the chamber earlier and they wanted to speak, there was the opportunity to speak. If they come in late because we felt the need of some people who couldn't get in the chamber at the time, then this was their opportunity to speak. Now, if they heard something that they disliked in the course of the meeting, and they've been sitting here the whole time, do we give them the opportunity to speak?
In my mind,
Okay, and then so if that's the case, then I can fill out a card and speak as a citizen as well. Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and get this on. Brenda O'Brock.
I just want to put perspective with it.
You're going to laugh when you hear what I have to say. One thing, I want to commend you, Commissioner Chavez, on I love the way you get her done. I mean, you just did this and this. You handled things right on the spot. I have never seen that before, and I'm loving it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, what I want to talk about is everything that shines is not gold. And I want to talk to you about early childhood education. There are problems if you push children too early, too much. Please, please, I have been fighting Common Core for 10 years. Thank you. The citizens have been fighting Common Core for 10 years for many of your children and cousins. The brand new school down here on the riverfront, Magnolia, is a DNF school. It's because of Common Core. Okay, pushing kids too early can set them back seriously. You need to check into it. What I suggest that you do, now I'm the kind of person that I'm preventive measure. I take preventive measures. What I would suggest that you do is to get a study with educated people who are in that field of expertise. Before you go and accept another program, we're still in Common Core and we can't get rid of it. It's been 10 years and it's been a failure. But get a study on early childhood and find out why these kids are starting school late. Are they starting late because their mom and dad are having problems? Are they starting late because they're on drugs, or their mom and dad are on drugs, or they're hungry? That's how you get to the problem of kids starting to school late.
Thank you. I think this is Catherine Bass. Miss Bass, thank you.
Hello. This was just off the cuff, and thank you for accepting me up here. First of all, compared to last time that we were here, as all of the people can say, it is a total improvement. Total improvement on the way that you look, the way that, not look, but the way that you listen to us, and that you are attentive. And if you will definitely do something to help us about this, we would appreciate it. First of all, I'd like for you to look at our group. If you look at us, we're really senior citizens, except for the young ones that are here pushing this. They are the ones that are in charge of this, doing an excellent job. We can't afford to go back and do all of the stuff that we've worked all of our life for. And we really need you to understand that one day you will be there. Believe me, you will be there. And I'm not going to cry because it is emotional that somebody wants to come in and tell us that we can't park a car, that we are working. We can't park it on our driveway when we are going to town. And you are very attentive. And I want to call attention to that because you have been very attentive. And I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. We need you to do something. We know that you can, but we need you to do it. And we're asking all of you. Todd has been at the meeting. We would appreciate you all. You're in our district. We need you to do something. And that's all I'm asking.
Thank you, Ms. Bass. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Mr. Bruce DeVille.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've been sitting here, but I heard something during the meeting that I think I needed to address. First of all, senior citizen, I resemble that remark. Sorry, I know.
That's okay.
51,000 people in the parish outside the city of Shreveport. What size city would that be if it were a city compared to the other cities in Louisiana? it would be a sizable city. But yet it's underrepresented. And let me explain in a very few seconds here without boring you guys to tears. The United States has long recognized the need to represent areas as well as populations. We have 2 United States senators from each state in the United States. We have representatives based on population. That gives a balance. We have an electoral college voting regime for the President of the United States. Now that's under fire, but that represents areas, not just population. That does not filter down to the parish commission. It's totally based on population, and there's no representation, or it's underrepresented for the areas. And that area is composed of 51,000 taxpaying citizens. I'm going to look into what it would take for redistricting and whatever the politically correct terms are, or whatever the legal terms are, to make sure that the areas outside the city are properly represented. Thank you. I'll answer any questions.
We can't speak, but thank you, Mr. DeVille. All right, Commissioners, we have 2 last citizen late comments. One is Jane Tharp, and please don't get up yet, Jane, and one is James O'Brock for the same topics that they spoke on the first time. Parliamentarian, I'd like to ask for a ruling on if you'd like to allow them to speak again, or what you'd like to do.
Well, I would defer to the legal attorney as to what the rules would be on this matter. Is it defined in the?
Okay. Your agenda says comments, late arrivals. If you've had one topic that was spoken on at the beginning of the meeting and you've exhausted their 15 minutes, you cannot come back and use the second comment section to gain more time. If it's a different topic, I would defer to you all, but it says late arrivals. If that person was here at the time the first comment section took place, then this is not the section of the agenda for them to speak. It should have been the first section.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead. You want to speak to it?
Yeah. So Jane Tharp, that one will be pushed out automatically because it's already been concluded with the 15-minute.
Excuse me, sir. I didn't put on that my subject. So how do you know it's the same subject, sir?
Oh no! If you have a different topic.
I do.
Okay. Wonderful. Jane Tharp. Let's take this one really quick, guys, and then we'll address the last one.
Thank you. For clarification, and I know y'all seen me up here enough, it's Jane Tappe, T-A-P-P-E. Thank you. All right. The subject is not the same. It was brought up because you guys, as the commission, made a statement about the procedures that go on here with you guys. We're here because we trust you guys to do the correct thing. When we came into this room was full, almost every chair taken. Now, if you look at this room, we're half gone or more because we were uninvited. We were told, you may leave, please go, because now I'm going to assume that this is not true, because we were invited to leave, but then right after that, it was brought up by a few commissioners on meetings that we were going to have. I think that is inappropriate. I think it is wrong. I think it is bordering, I don't even know what the right word is here. Appalled is what I have, that you would invite us to leave, yet within 5 to 10 minutes, right after that, you tell us when we're going to meet about what we're all here for. So that is my opinion about. It was not about UDC. It's about you invited us as the public to leave. But yet you talked about what we're here to hear 5 minutes after that. Thank you very much. Oh, last thing. There's a story in the Bible about an old woman that keeps coming and coming and coming. We are it, y'all, until you answer us. Thank you.
Ms. Tarpey, I don't think the commissioner that it wasn't an invitation to leave. I think he was being gracious and just letting because some people will stay here for the entirety of the meeting. I don't think there's anything nefarious behind it. I can't speak for him, but I don't think there an ill intent in that one. But I believe he was trying to be courteous. But I appreciate the opinion, and it was well heard by the 11 sitting here today. So thank you for addressing that. We have Mr. Brown. Yes.
President. May I speak for myself? Well,
I-
first of all,
I think
Absolutely.
Burrell is up there.
oh, okay.
It's actually, it's out of agenda. We're not, this is one of the times we're not supposed to do the back and forth thing. I'm going to get a presidential privilege and give Mr. Epperson the right to address the.
First of all, I would like to say I'm sorry if you got the intention that I was offering you to leave to do something after you had left to mention something. Not the case. Been here 21 years. What I was doing was, some people may be new to coming here. Our meetings may be long, to let you know that the issues that you had addressed to us were not going to be voted on today. However, if you would like to leave, you could have left at that particular time. If you wanted to stay, you could stay as long as you possibly want to, okay? That's not the issue. Plus, let's go back to the work session Monday. I announced my meeting in Monday's work session, which was public. Also, when I went home Monday night and Tuesday, I sent out emails to anyone that had sent me some correspondence pertaining to the UDC. Some of you may be sitting here. I said, let me tell you, give me your name, your address, your email address, and I will get back with you. And everyone that I got their name and email address, I addressed them a copy of the media release of my meeting Tuesday. Okay? So please don't go out here with the wrong information. Some of you that may not know me. You know I don't play that. I'm the most active, informative commissioner or elected official in Louisiana, I would safely say. So I just want to let you know that. Now, I don't feel too good, and I want to come and stay and sustain the meeting, but I really need to go and take some more castor oil. So please excuse me if I leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, citizens, we need to wrap this up, so Mr. Brown.
Mr. Burrell's going to be open at 1.
Yeah, we're gonna. Mr. Brown, please come to the podium, but just hang tight 1 second. I wanted to, no, you're all right. Commissioner Burrell.
I thought for a minute that I was out of order, Mr. President.
No, we're not supposed to, the commissioners, we're past the point where we're allowed to do communiques at this agenda item. We're now down to citizen comments.
Well, I guess I'll just have to learn your protocol because, again, I was only going to say because I saw Ms. Tappy being upset and having been in an environment where you extend a courtesy to the public to leave because some people don't know your protocol. And I don't think that Mr. Epperson had any, foul intent. That's just a courtesy.
I agree
and
with
it
you.
just so happened that after that, he mentioned about those meetings because he had talked about them before. So I want Ms. Tappy to know that that I felt it wasn't intentional. Thank you, Mr. President.
I disagree. Half of our room is gone because we were invited to leave. That's the end of my statement.
Thank you, Ms. Tappy. Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. I want to say thank y'all for letting me speak. I'm trying to speak on the behalf of Greenwood. A lot of people that stay in Greenwood is retired, so they live off their retirement check. So a lot of them can't afford to do all the new rules that they done passed out that we don't even know nothing about, that they ain't give us no fair warning. With that being said, I work two jobs. I go work from 7. I stay up to about 2 o'clock at night every day. People tell you if you want things, you got to give up off and get a job and work hard for it.
That's right.
That's what I do. That's why I'm in the position I'm in now. Well, with that being said and done, I own my own job that I started my own bare hand. And I've been working on trade for 25 years. I build trailers, I weld, that's all I do. Inside during daytime, I'm a mechanic. Long story short, I come home, I got a citation in my mailbox saying that I got a commercial trailer in my yard. That's how I make my living. I work on trailer. Well, with that being said and done, I moved in Greenwood, and my reason I moved away in the country so I can work on trailer. I stay in the woods. I don't disturb nobody. Everybody sleep while I'm still up working. You talk about my house, I'm still up working at the time of night. That's just how I work. Now, it'd be different if I'm young, and then y'all wonder why crime is so high. When you take a person, man's job, how do we supposed to make it? If we start robbing, killing, and breaking people's house, then we wrong. But we try to make an honest living by working. But you take that from us. Not saying y'all, but the new rule.
Understand.
So that rule being said, how I'm gonna make my living if you take that away from me? So my thing is, look into that. We trying to make a living. A lot of people that's old, they can't afford these new rules. They can't. You can't put a concrete slab up on the trailer house. You can't afford it if you live off your retirement check. So you gotta think about it. The new rule gonna hurt everybody. It hurt me, cause I don't know right now. I won't put a fence in my yard. I don't know if I put a fence in my yard, I get a ticket. I don't even know. I mean, the new rule is just, I don't understand.
Mr. Brown, thank you for coming down. Will you get with Ms. Bryant? I want to make sure that his citation is one that is one of the ones that was suspended. Will you give her your contact information? I want to make sure that gets taken care of. I appreciate you for coming down here.
Yes, sir.
We are definitely working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Brown.
it.
All right, Commissioners, the chair is going to make a motion. We have James O'Brock. He'd like to speak about the same thing that he spoke on before, and he was ready to allocate his 3 minutes. So the chair makes the motion that he can, if I can get a second, that way we can vote on it.
Second.
All right. The motion is to allow James an additional 3 minutes on his same topic. If you're for allowing him to speak 3 minutes, please vote yes. If you are not, please vote no. Deputy Clerk. All right, you may speak. Mr. O'Brock, please be respectful.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. You don't have to worry about that. I only wanted to clarify that there are a lot of, my talk wasn't about whether people wanted it moved. I know there are people that wanted to move. I was talking about allocating the money to do it when we have so many other things that need to be done. And there are many places in our town that are probably just as offensive, maybe more offensive. Crimes have happened in the past. Ledbetter Heights and all that. There was probably a really bad history there and many other places. I'm just saying that you're not going to be able to wipe all of those out. And I understand people's perception of the Confederate monument, and it can go either way. Some people feel that it was a monument to slavery. I don't believe that was the case, but it just happened to be at that time in history. And it's hard to erase history. And so I'm just talking about being sensible about spending our money. There were some other things that we're concerned that, even the welcome signs, worried about how much that's going to cost. So I just think the money could be better spent.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Oh, one other thing, if it's racist where it is and it's moved somewhere, it's going to be racist there too. So,
Thank you, sir. All right. I see no other citizens' comments.
Move to adjourn.
You want to?
Why don't we just now?
Okay. All right. Second. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
You all right?